Captain Sarah Chun stared at the main screen as dozens of sleek alien warships materialized around her cargo vessel, the Resilient Dawn. The Zephyrian fleet had appeared without warning, their ships gleaming like silver daggers against the black of space. Her small crew of 12 looked to her for answers she didn't have. The Dawn was just a simple transport ship carrying medical supplies to the outer colonies. Nothing that should interest a powerful alien empire known for their advanced technology and ruthless efficiency. The lead Zephyrian ship opened a communication channel, and Admiral Keth's cold voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, you carry something that belongs to us. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift." Sarah's heart pounded as she realized they weren't here for the medical supplies. Hidden deep in the cargo bay was something far more dangerous, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. She had hoped to deliver it safely to Earth's defense forces, but now, surrounded and outgunned, everything was about to go terribly wrong. "Sir, we're completely surrounded," reported Tommy Martinez, the young communications officer. His voice shook as he counted the enemy ships on his scanner. 37 Zephyrian cruisers, all with weapons powered up. Sarah kept her face calm, even though her mind was racing. The Zephyrians were known throughout the galaxy as master warriors. Their ships were faster, stronger, and better armed than anything humans had built. A single Zephyrian cruiser could destroy 10 human vessels without breaking a sweat. "What do they want with us?" whispered Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's chief medical officer. She had been overseeing the medical supplies when the aliens appeared. Sarah couldn't tell her crew the truth. 3 days ago, she had received secret orders from Earth Command. Hidden among the medical supplies was a small device, something the humans had stolen from a destroyed Zephyrian research station. The device contained the plans for their most powerful weapon, a planet killer that could destroy entire worlds in seconds. "Captain Chun," Admiral Keth's voice came through the speakers again. "We know you have our property. Return it now, or we will take it from your corpse." Sarah stood up slowly. She was a tall woman with short black hair and steady brown eyes. She had commanded cargo ships for 15 years, but she had never faced anything like this. "This is Captain Sarah Chun of the human vessel Resilient Dawn," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We are carrying only medical supplies to the Kepler colony. We have nothing that belongs to you." A cold laugh came through the speakers. "Do not lie to us, human. Our sensors have detected the energy signature of our stolen technology aboard your vessel. You have 60 seconds to surrender it, or we will board your ship and take it by force." Sarah looked at her crew. They were good people, engineers, doctors, and traders who had never signed up for a war. Tommy was only 22 years old. Dr. Vasquez had 3 children waiting for her back on Earth. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb was close to retirement and just wanted to see his grandchildren again. "Sir," said Marcus, his weathered face grim, "even if we give them what they want, they won't let us live. We know too much now." Sarah knew he was right. The Zephyrians never left witnesses. But she also knew that if the device fell into their hands, they would use it to destroy human colonies across the galaxy. Millions would die. 30 seconds, Captain Chun, Admiral Keth announced. Sarah made her decision. "Tommy, send a message to all Earth Command frequencies. Tell them the package is secure but surrounded." "Marcus, how long would it take to reach the jump point?" Marcus checked his instruments. "At full speed, 20 minutes. But they'll destroy us long before then." "Maybe," Sarah said. "But we have something they don't expect." "What's that, Captain?" asked Dr. Vasquez. "We're human," Sarah replied with a grim smile. "And humans don't give up." The 60 seconds passed. Admiral Keth's voice returned, colder than before. "Your time is up, Captain. Prepare to be boarded." Instead of responding, Sarah turned to her crew. "All hands, this is the captain. We're about to do something very dangerous. If anyone wants to leave, now is the time." No one moved. "Good," Sarah said. "Marcus, Give me everything the engines have. Tommy, start jamming their communications. Dr. Vasquez, get to the cargo bay and prepare to jettison the medical supplies. But Captain, Dr. Vasquez protested, those supplies will save thousands of lives on Kepler colony. And if we don't get out of here, millions will die when the Zephyrians use their weapon, Sarah replied. The resilient Dawn suddenly lurched forward, accelerating at maximum speed toward the edge of the Zephyrian formation. The alien ships were caught off guard for just a moment, long enough for the human vessel to slip between two cruisers. They're firing, Tommy shouted. Bright energy beams lanced through space, barely missing the Dawn as Sarah threw the ship into a wild spiral. The Zephyrian weapons were incredibly powerful, but they were designed to hit large, slow-moving targets. The Dawn was small and fast, dancing between the deadly beams like a leaf in the wind. Hull temperature rising, Marcus called out. We're taking heat damage from near misses. Keep us moving, Sarah ordered. She had to keep the aliens confused and angry. The longer they focused on capturing the ship, the less time they had to think clearly. Admiral Keth's voice crackled over the radio, full of rage. Foolish humans, you cannot escape. Surrender now. But Sarah had no intention of surrendering. She had a plan, but it was dangerous and required perfect timing. Dr. Vasquez, are you ready to jettison the medical supplies? Ready, Captain. Tommy, patch me through to the Zephyrian flagship. A moment later, Admiral Keth's angry face appeared on the main screen. He was tall and thin, with silver skin and black eyes that showed no mercy. Admiral, Sarah said calmly, I have a proposition for you. You are in no position to make deals, human. Actually, I am, Sarah replied. Your device is hidden among our medical supplies. If you destroy my ship, you'll destroy your precious weapon too. But if you let my crew go, I'll tell you exactly where to find it. Admiral Keth's eyes narrowed. Why would you do this? Because I care more about my crew than I do about your weapon, Sarah lied smoothly. Besides, what harm can one small device do? She could see Admiral Keth thinking. The Zephyrians were arrogant. They believed humans were weak and cowardly. The idea that a human captain would sacrifice a powerful weapon to save her crew would seem perfectly reasonable to them. Very well, Admiral Keth said after a long moment. Tell us where the device is located, and we will allow your crew to escape in life pods. It's in Cargo Bay 3, hidden inside a medical supply container marked Emergency Surgical Equipment, Sarah said. The container has a blue stripe on the side. This was partly true. The device was in Cargo Bay 3, but it wasn't in the container she had described. It was hidden in her personal quarters, disguised as a coffee maker. The container with the blue stripe contained something else entirely. Excellent, Admiral Keth said with a cold smile. Prepare to eject your life pods. We will collect the device and then you may go. But Sarah knew better. As soon as the Zephyrians had what they wanted, they would destroy the life pods. She had to act fast. Dr. Vasquez, jettison the medical supplies now, she ordered. Hundreds of containers exploded out of the Dawn's cargo bay, scattering in all directions. The Zephyrian ships immediately began collecting them, scanning each container for the stolen device. Tommy, are their communications still jammed? Yes, Captain. They can't coordinate properly. Good. Marcus, take us into the debris field. Use the containers as cover. The resilient Dawn dove into the cloud of floating medical supplies. The containers were large enough to hide the ship from some of the Zephyrian sensors, but not for long. Admiral Keth's voice crackled over the radio again. The device is not here. Where is it, human? I don't know what you mean, Sarah replied innocently. I told you exactly where to find it. You lied to us, Admiral Keth roared. Did I? Maybe your people are just looking in the wrong places. This was the dangerous part of Sarah's plan. She needed to keep the Zephyrians angry and distracted while she put the final piece in place. Marcus, how are the engines? Running hot, but still functional. We might have 10 more minutes at this speed. That's all we need. Tommy, prepare to broadcast on all frequencies. Sarah took a deep breath. What she was about to do would either save her crew or get them all killed. Admiral Keth, she said, I'll make you one final offer. The device you want, I'll trade it for safe passage out of this system. You are hardly in a position to negotiate, human. We will tear your ship apart until we find what we seek. You could do that, Sarah agreed. But it would take time. And time is something you don't have. What do you mean? Sarah smiled. Tommy, broadcast my message now. Tommy's fingers flew over his controls. Across the galaxy, every human ship, space station, and colony received the same message. This is Captain Sarah Chun of the cargo vessel Resilient Dawn. We have successfully retrieved the Zephyrian Planet Killer device. Current location: Sector 7, Grid 23 Alpha. We are surrounded by 37 enemy vessels but are holding position. Request immediate assistance from all available Earth defense forces. Admiral Keth's face went pale. You fool! Do you know what you have done? I've let the entire galaxy know that you lost your most powerful weapon to a simple human cargo ship, Sarah replied. How does that make you look to your own people? How does it make you look to your enemies? The truth was even worse than that. The message also revealed the exact location of a massive Zephyrian fleet, far from their home territory. Every human military commander would realize this was the perfect opportunity to strike back at their enemies. You cannot escape, Admiral Keth said, but his voice was less confident now. Even if human ships come, they cannot arrive in time to save you. Maybe not, Sarah admitted, but they don't need to save us. They just need to know where you are. On the bridge of the Dawn, warning lights began flashing. The ship's computers had detected something that made Sarah's heart skip a beat. Captain, Tommy said, his voice filled with excitement. I'm picking up multiple jump signatures, human signatures. On the main screen, dozens of bright flashes appeared at the edge of the system. Ships began emerging from hyperspace, sleek human destroyers, heavy cruisers, and even a few of the massive dreadnoughts that formed the backbone of Earth's fleet. Admiral Keth stared at the screen in disbelief. Impossible. No human fleet could respond so quickly. But Sarah understood what had happened. The human ships hadn't come in response to her message. They had already been on their way. Earth Command had been planning their own attack on the Zephyrian fleet, using Sarah's mission as a distraction. Her message had simply told them exactly where to strike. Admiral, Sarah said calmly, I believe you're about to have company. The human fleet spread out in battle formation, moving with the precision of a well-trained military force. At their head was the indomitable Earth's newest and most powerful dreadnought. A new voice came over the radio, calm, professional, and utterly confident. This is Admiral Rebecca Steele of the Earth Defense Force. Zephyrian vessels, you are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Admiral Keth's face twisted with rage. Humans, you dare to threaten us? We are the masters of this galaxy. Not anymore, Admiral Steele replied. Captain Chun, this is Admiral Steele. Well done. We'll take it from here. Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. Thank you, Admiral. Good to see you. But Admiral Keth wasn't finished. If we cannot have our device, then no one can. All ships, target the human cargo vessel. Destroy it. The Zephyrian ships began turning their weapons toward the Resilient Dawn. Energy beams lanced through space, but the human warships were already moving to intercept. The battle erupted around Sarah's small vessel like a storm of fire and metal. Get us out of here, Sarah ordered. Marcus pushed the engines to their absolute limit. The Dawn shot forward, weaving between the massive warships as they exchanged devastating volleys of fire. A Zephyrian cruiser exploded nearby, its destruction lighting up the darkness of space. Hull breach on Deck 4, reported Dr. Vasquez. We're losing atmosphere. Seal it off, Sarah commanded. The ship shuddered as another energy beam passed close by. Tommy, can you raise Admiral Steele? Trying, Captain, but there's too much interference from the battle. Sarah watched the battle unfold around them. The human ships were holding their own, but the Zephyrians were fighting with desperate fury. Ships on both sides were taking heavy damage. Then she saw something that made her blood run cold. Admiral Keth's flagship was moving toward the Dawn, ignoring the human warships that were attacking it. The massive vessel was badly damaged, with fires burning along its hull, but it was still functional. He's going to ram us, Marcus said quietly. Sarah realized that Admiral Keth had decided to destroy her ship even if it meant sacrificing his own. Without the stolen device, his career and possibly his life would be forfeit when he returned to the Zephyrian Empire. Can we outrun him? Not with our engines damaged, Marcus replied. He'll catch us in 2 minutes. Sarah looked around the bridge at her crew. They had trusted her to get them out of this situation, and she had led them into an even worse one. Captain, Dr. Vasquez said softly, we did the right thing. If that device had fallen into Zephyrian hands, they would have used it to destroy human worlds. The device, Sarah said suddenly. An idea was forming in her mind, a dangerous, desperate idea. Tommy, can you get me a direct line to Admiral Keth? I think so, Captain. A moment later, Admiral Keth's face appeared on the screen again. His ship was badly damaged, and he was bleeding from a cut on his forehead, but his eyes still burned with hatred. You cannot escape, human. I will destroy you myself. Admiral, Sarah said. Before you kill us, don't you want to know where your device really is? Admiral Keth paused. Speak quickly. It's not on my ship, Sarah said. It never was. Earth Command moved it to a secure location days ago. I was just the decoy. This was a complete lie, but Sarah sold it with conviction. The device was actually sitting in her quarters, still disguised as a coffee maker. You lie, Admiral Keth snarled, but she could see doubt in his eyes. Check your intelligence reports, Sarah continued. When did your spies first detect the device aboard my ship? 3 days ago, right? That's when Earth Command wanted you to detect it. They needed you to follow me here, away from the real transport. Admiral Keth's face went pale as he realized the implications. If the humans had planned this entire operation, then his fleet had walked into a trap. Around them, the battle was turning in favor of the human ships. More Zephyrian vessels were being destroyed, and Admiral Keth's flagship was taking heavy fire from 3 human cruisers. Even if what you say is true, Admiral Keth said, I will still have the satisfaction of killing you. But before he could act, the Indomitable appeared between his ship and the Dawn. The massive human dreadnought opened fire with all weapons, and Admiral Keth's flagship began to break apart under the assault. This is Admiral Steele, came the voice over the radio. Captain Chun moved to safe distance. We'll handle the cleanup. As the resilient Dawn limped away from the battle, Sarah watched the last of the Zephyrian ships being destroyed or surrendering. Admiral Keth's flagship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, taking the arrogant alien commander with it. Tommy, open a channel to Admiral Steele. Channel open, Captain. Admiral, this is Captain Chun. Mission accomplished. The package is secure. Outstanding work, Captain. Your distraction allowed us to catch them completely off guard. How are your casualties? Minor injuries only. But Admiral, there's something you should know. I told the Zephyrians that Earth Command had moved the device to a secure location. They might have believed it. There was a pause. Captain, are you telling me the device is still aboard your ship? Yes, ma'am. It's been disguised as a coffee maker in my quarters. 6 months later, Captain Sarah Chun received new orders from Earth Command. The resilient Dawn had been upgraded with better weapons and shields, and her crew had been expanded to include military specialists. Their new mission, to carry sensitive cargo to the frontier worlds, using the same tactics that had worked so well against the Zephyrians. Sarah's ship would serve as a decoy, drawing enemy attention while the real valuable shipments traveled by other routes. It was dangerous work, but Sarah and her crew were ready for it. They had learned something important in their encounter with the Zephyrian fleet. Sometimes the best way to win a fight is to make sure it happens on your terms, not your enemies. As Tommy Martinez, now promoted to first officer, liked to say, "We might just be a cargo ship, but we're a human cargo ship, and that makes all the difference." The resilient Dawn continued its missions, carrying hope to the far reaches of human space. And whenever enemy fleets tried to surround them, they discovered that attacking humans was never as easy as it looked. Because humans, as the galaxy was learning, had a habit of turning disasters into victories. Even when everything went wrong, they found a way to make it go right. 6 months later, Captain Sarah Chun received new orders from Earth Command. The resilient Dawn had been upgraded with better weapons and shields, and her crew had been expanded to include military specialists. Their new mission, to carry sensitive cargo to the frontier worlds, using the same tactics that had worked so well against the Zephyrians. Sarah's ship would serve as a decoy, drawing enemy attention while the real valuable shipments traveled by other routes. It was dangerous work, but Sarah and her crew were ready for it. They had learned something important in their encounter with the Zephyrian fleet. Sometimes the best way to win a fight is to make sure it happens on your terms, not your enemies. As Tommy Martinez, now promoted to first officer, liked to say, "We might just be a cargo ship, but we're a human cargo ship, and that makes all the difference." The resilient Dawn continued its missions, carrying hope to the far reaches of human space. And whenever enemy fleets tried to surround them, they discovered that attacking humans was never as easy as it looked. Because humans, as the galaxy was learning, had a habit of turning disasters into victories. Even when everything went wrong, they found a way to make it go right.